One of the oldest civilizations in India was in the Indus Valley. And I love looking at historical videos. And one of the things that they said about the Indus Valley is that it was, number one, a female-centric religion and family type. And secondly, that it was a democracy, that it was common, it is the oldest democracy known to history. And I thought that was fantastic. I was like, so many years ago, and from what those videos say, it was a golden age. It was a golden age where collective freedom meant much more than individual freedom. That everybody needs to feel the benefits of being free. So yes, 200 years India struggled under the British. There were good things and bad things, and whenever you talk to people, they said, oh, but we got railways, but we got educational institutions. But does that compensate for having to use the back entrance to enter into popular buildings? Being a second-class citizen in your own country, not having the power to decide anything, paying a tax for even salt. To be born free in a free country where you can express yourself, that is a blessing beyond anything. This age that we've been born in, this country that we've been placed in, this situation that we are in is better than it has ever been for millennia. And it's always a toss-up between my individual freedom and collective good. And I'm not going to further dwell on individual freedoms, because then it becomes a very political issue. What I'm instead going to talk about is freedom from your own mind. Freedom from your own mind. The biggest slavery that exists is following your mind and believing that everything your mind tells you is correct and true. That your mind knows above and beyond what is right and what is good. And the mind cannot tell fake news from real news. Whatever it sees in terms of stimuli, it will absorb. When a lion kills its prey, is some freedom being taken away from the deer? So for one person to have the freedom to eat whatever it wants, another person has to sacrifice its life. Freedom is always at a cost. Freedom is always at a cost. But freedom from the mind is a little bit different, because when you're free from your mind, there's nothing. There is nothing. There is nothing dictating to you. This is good. This is bad. This is right. This is wrong. This is looking at a bird, not saying this is a beautiful bird or a bad bird, but just that it's a bird. This is freedom from the mind. Freedom from the mind is things happening in the world, and you create space between you and the event, where you're not tied down, you're not identified with the event. You don't feel like your entire ego is connected to it, and that anybody that infringes on it is taking away something that belongs to you. Because in the eyes of Supreme Consciousness, everything happens. Everything happens. The lion has to eat. The jackal has to eat. The ant has to eat. There will be autocrats. There will be fascists. There will be cruelty. There will be evil. There will be kindness. There will be humility. There will be arrogance. There will be lust. All of it happens. And as long as you think this is my freedom being taken away, you are suffering. You are suffering. Somebody said something about Jesus Christ, and wars were fought endlessly. A writer wrote something in a book of fiction, and 20 years later, somebody attacks him for it. Where is the freedom to think? Where is the freedom to express? The writer was expressing his own freedom, and the attacker felt that that was an impingement on his freedom to have a completely unsullied, perfect religion. The extent to which we identify with things decides whether we're going to be free or we're going to be tied to it. What do you want to be free from? When you're working, when you have a very good job, when your children are growing up, when you're running from one place to another, you just want to be free from all of that and just have peace of mind. And let me tell you, in the last couple of weeks, I've had nothing to do. And I'm wondering whether I'm doing something wrong. I wish I was busy, as I've been for the last 5 years. I wish I was that busy. We always long for something we don't have currently. And in that is our greatest folly. This is the mistake that we make. The mistake that we make is we want to be free, but we really don't know what it is that we want to be free of. Do you want freedom from the body? In which case, snuff it out, end of life, all over. Do you want freedom from your situation? Do you want freedom from your children? Do you want freedom from your mind? Do you want freedom to practice your own religion? Do you want freedom to be able to dress the way you want? Do you notice that everybody in every country is looking for that which it doesn't have? In Afghanistan, they are not looking for the freedom to be able to wear shorts wherever they want. That's not what the women want. The women just want to be allowed to live, to breathe. They are not concerned about voting. They just want to get on with their life. Yet, When I look back on the 200 years of subjugation and what people suffered so that India can stand up free and do all the things that it does, not manufacture indigo but actually manufacture crops that it needs, look at it today, creating the IT world that the whole globe depends on. Look at the possibilities that have arisen as a result of that freedom. We don't understand the value, we don't realize how important it is to be able to express your creativity. Because ultimately, what does everybody want? They just want to go through life, take care of their children, and have a few good experiences. We don't want anything fantastic. But freedom and independence comes at a cost. You want to be free of your children. You want to be completely on your own so you can breathe, so you can do all the things. Just a question of time before you start feeling the loneliness. Everything has a price. The extent to which you are involved with anything decides how much you suffer. I am not saying that we should quietly sit and let anybody do anything to us. All of us are put on this earth for a reason. And our voice, our thoughts, they matter. If a cause is just enough, and if you feel strongly enough, then you will take the right action towards that. What I am against is living room discussions about things, about items, which lead to nothing, except create division amongst people. And yet, even in those living room discussions, we have to respect the freedom of people to express whatever they are thinking. Of all the freedoms, for me, freedom of speech is so important, the ability to write and to criticize what is happening. It is so important. If that is taken away, then everything gets taken away. Especially because I'm a writer. And many things that I write in my books might be objectionable to some quarter of society. Nowadays you can't please everybody. Every writer needs to have that freedom to express themselves freely. Everybody has the right to practice whatever religion and faith peacefully without imposing it on anybody else. It is when it's imposed on the population, when unfairly religion becomes part of the politics of the country, when you try to make a larger population suffer because of your faith, that's when it comes in the way of freedom. To live your life completely free of burden only comes when you recognize you are the awareness. You are that which knows, and the rest of it is all false. It's not even real. What are you arguing about? Who are you trying to protect? And those fighters for freedom, the real freedom fighters, their voices get heard. Their voices get heard. Because the concern is really not just for me, but it is for the well-being of a huge group of people. And when collective thought combines, even if it's for a bad cause, it will grow. Even if it is not for a good cause, collective thought will grow. So what do you want to be free of? What do you want to identify in this life? What do you want to be your primary focus? We don't think about that enough, and we need to. We need to think about what we want and what we have. I want to be occupied, but I don't want a complicated job. I want children, but I don't want them to bother me too much. Or I want my children to call me every day, but they don't want to be bothered by me. Right? It's a two-way process. We never get what we want. All freedom and all independence comes at a cost. And the best strategy is to pull away. Pull away to the awareness, to the source, to the intelligence, to the universe, to the force that is behind all this, and see all of it playing out. Like a drama, like that which is unreal. Whatever you say, don't say, what does it matter? Whatever you do, you don't do, what does it matter? So many Mandelas have come, so many Gandhis have come, so many people have fought for freedom, against slavery, against so many injustices. They've come and gone. Injustices will rise, people will rise against it. Freedom will be, it's a cycle. There will be evil in this world. When it gets intolerable, there will be a force that quells it. It will be replaced again. And once again it rises. Almost as if nobody learnt anything from history. Nobody understood anything from history. It goes on and on and on. And while we are not responsible for what happens in our country, in the world, the quality of your mind is very important. And the truth is so controversial. While I say you should not identify, you should have freedom for the mind, yet your voice is important in standing up against injustice, talking against what is happening, fighting for what is just and what is right. Not just for you, but for the community, for the country, for the world at large. So think about it. Think about what matters.